Okay, so now we start on our fourth and final section with our classical set number 7. Now this one is really interesting because this one has kind of a little bit of an evolution too, but it also has to do with the way that we do Chi Sao. It's very important to get the positionings right. And also Bong Sao becomes a very important movement in the Wing Chun system. It's actually one of our core movements, 3C technique. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we use it properly and we execute it properly. And there's a couple of schools of thought on this one, but I'm just going to cover 2 of them. So let's start off with the way that we want it done with the school, and then we'll go into the second portion and talk a little bit about that. But we start off right here, same thing. We should have internal adduction, and we start off now. I bring the Bong Sao from here and I bring it to the center. The wrist should be on the solar plexus around this area, right in the middle. The elbow should be above the wrist. Try to keep your shoulder down. Try not to go like this. You want to be nice and relaxed. Very good. Contrary to what a lot of Wing Chun people believe, this is not a block. This is a deflection, okay? And then what happens is you drop the elbow on the same pivot point. So basically, this should not go into the body. It should stay on the same plane. And the hand comes into Tan Sao, which is very important for Chi Sao. Then you bring the fingers down to get some of that flexibility, to stretch some of these muscles right here and to engage these muscles. Remember, stretching is not just about stretching out, but engaging muscles and not having antagonistic force at that same time. So this one is really important. When you stretch this one, you launch it upward. Launch it upward, and you try to keep this one as straight as possible. This is all a stretch. We never apply it this high, but we do it for stretching purposes. Then you go Tan Sao, Hyun Sao, back, and you do it on this side as well. Very simple. Now, what I said was that there's 2 schools of thought on this one. The original way I learned it was like this. You come straight out with the Bong Sao and you finish it like this. Now, the problem with that one is that the beginner students that do not learn how to properly do a Bong Sao from that. This ends up leading. What I mean by this is the wrist ends up leading the Bong Sao, which is incorrect. What happens is the Bong Sao is led from the elbow. So this is why we put this one in here, because they, as a beginner, need to know that the Bong Sao comes from the elbow, not the wrist. The motion comes from this, not here. The wrist should not be engaged. The wrist should be in contact, but the elbow should be the one that's leading it, okay? When the head is pressed, the tail rises, and then for Tan Sao, when the tail is pressed, the head rises, and that's why we do it the way that we do it right here. And that one is our set number 7, very simple set, and it's a very important one too because it contains our Tan Sao and our Bong Sao, which are 2 of our C techniques for Chi Sao and Wing Chun totally. So it really does work very well. But we're on to our last set and our last portion of section 4 for our school, and then we're going to have the whole form. But very good, and let's go on to the next set.